connection.
Oh, and of course, tea.
Her name is April, and she's fabulous.
Together, we decided to start Thumbprint Studio.
Still working with emotional freedom.
Come for the connection.
Stay for the tea. Hello, my name is Jana Alexander.
And my name is April Sigmund Marks.
And together we decided to start Thumbprint Studios in the midst of a pandemic.
Because, fuck it, let's try.
Excellent.
Each week we bring artists, trying to bring in the theme of today. Each week we bring artists from diverse backgrounds to share their experience with one common theme, connection.
And tea. This week we have Jessica Hanna with us to discuss her process that she has developed of saying, fuck it, let's try during Corona times.
So Jessica is a very busy human. Jessica Hanna is a Los Angeles-based director and producer with a BFA from the theater school at DePaul University. So we got that LA, Chicago connection. She is a member of the Kilroys, which is an activist artist group working for gender parity in American theater. If you don't know of them, look them up this second, like right now. She was an artist in residence at the Thymele Arts in 2019. She is trained with the SITI Company and performed with them in 2010 and 2013 at the Getty Villa. She is also currently the chair of the SITI Company's board. Not only is she the chair of the SITI Company board, but she also co-founded Bootleg Theater and was its producing and managing director for 12 years. She worked with Roger, I've forgotten how to pronounce this, Roger Guenveur Smith on RODNEY KING. She helped create the Hope on Stage Playwriting Prize in collaboration with Cornell and Notre Universities. She created the Solo Queens Festival that has featured 15 women solo performers in 2 years. Now, her directing credits include Lisa Dring's Death Play at Circle X Theater, Brandon Baroch's No Homo at Hollywood Fringe Festival, which was awarded Best Director, Best Ensemble, and Best New Play. At Bootleg Theater, Jessica directed the world premieres of Four Chords and a Gun by John Ross Bowie, I Carry Your Heart by Georgette Kelly, The Willows by Carrie Ann McCullough, and Blue, Gold, and Butterflies by Stephanie Batiste. She also directed Priscilla, Queen of the Desert at Celebration Theater, which was the winner of the 2019 Ovation Award for Best Production of a Musical. Also in 2019, she directed A Midsummer Night's Dream for Make Trouble in Wilmington, North Carolina, and directed Michelle Colos Brooks' Hostage at Adobe Rose Theater in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Jessica produced 2 plays by Kirsten Vangness at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. She co-directed Justin Cire's Ravenswood Manor at Celebration Theater and directed a workshop of Sarah Tuff's Abigail for Inkwell Theater. Now in 2020, she directed Polaroid Stories at Cal Poly Pomona, The Wolves at CSU Long Beach. During the pandemic, she directed Iris Barr's solo piece, Die, and Die. Okay, thank you. My dyslexic brain. Produced Felicia Saunders' Breathe for Outpost 13 and Outside In, and A Walk in My Neighborhood by Katie Lindsay. And upcoming, she has an online production of Fefu and Her Friends at Cal Poly Pomona, as well as one at the Orlando Opera. So let's welcome this very impressive and busy human being, Jessica. Yay.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you
Hi.
for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah.
So we know Jessica through Vic, actually, who is our managing assistant of educational programming. They introduced us to Jessica. We were talking about who to bring on tea, and they were like, we should talk to Jessica Hanna. And we were like, great, let's do it. And then we had this cute little pre-interview talk, and April and I got done with our pre-interview talk, and both of us were just like, oh my gosh, we could have talked to Jessica for like hours and hours and hours. So thanks, Vic, for connecting us, because yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are. They're an incredible human being. And so of course they bring us an incredible human being.
Yes,
Of
absolutely.
course. So we always start with the same two icebreaker questions. And the first one is, what are your hopes for 2021?
My hopes for 2021 is that we take a lot of the things we have seen and hopefully listen to and learn from and make changes in 2021 that will change how we make, well, theater, art, and also how our community works in the world, both civically and politically. I think we have the opportunity to actually make some change.
Yes, absolutely. I think those are excellent hopes. So our other icebreaker question is, what is your current obsession?
Okay, I was thinking about this. Okay, so Jeremy O'Harris, playwright of Slave Play, also person of the Instagrams and the Twitters and the I'm well, there's been a couple of things. Slightly obsessed with, I saw Slave Play, had many things and feelings and awesomeness. I am obsessed with the way that he is he's making use of the platforms that he has to not just talk about, but then he actually does actions. Like he's produced two different plays during the pandemic, both online, that were both also great, but also like he's putting his money into it. He's put money into scholarship or grants, artist grants that you can access. And then he made this collection, he put together this collection called the Golden Collection of plays by Black playwrights. That I think it's, I have it here. This was my Christmas present to myself. That's how obsessed I was, where I was like, oh, I'm getting this, because it was a lot of plays that either some I'd seen, some I had read, and then a bunch that I'd heard of or never seen before. And so I'm kind of been obsessed. And I also, like, if you follow him on Instagram, he does these coronavirus mixtapes where he'll post his favorite TikToks and things that he's like in like 10, right? So you get 10 every once in a while. I don't do the TikToks. It would take even more of my time away. So I enjoy watching what he puts out there. So I've been kind of obsessed and following and the person, but also it's the action. And it's so exciting to see. I think Katori Hall has done it as well, where part of her deal with Hollywood or the industry deal that she's gotten to make stuff is about also there's some money put aside towards theater artists or playmakers, or they are very much taking care of or putting money back into what helped to birth them. And you know what I mean? And I think that if all people who made things, because they all came from theater, were to turn around and give a little money, little support, little light shining back, oof, we would be miles. We'd be so quick, we'd go miles. So yeah, that's what I've been kind of obsessing about. So I'm reading lots of plays.
Yeah. Good time for reading plays.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jessica, can you tell us a little bit about your journey and what's brought you to where you're at?
Following my bliss. Well, literally, honestly, what's following your interest, which is a phrase I got in training with SITI Company on the Viewpoints floor, this phrase, follow your interest. And I was like, oh, that, what happens if I apply that to my life? And that's been a big beacon for since 2002, I want to say, was where that came in. But before that, grew up in Ithaca, New York, very beautiful place full of beautiful people and a nice arts community, also supported because there are two very large colleges there, so kind of the great college town to grow up in, and so I came up doing shows. So I did theater from a very young age. Like I was on stage with my mom at 4, 7 I went on by myself, did some all through growing up, theater was my safe space. And then went to college at DePaul, as you say. Spent 8 years in Chicago, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Great town, and I still, and great place to go to school and learn about theater, and then have places to work. And it's very nurturing. And then came out here. My mom is from here originally. So when the choices between New York and LA, because I wanted to go from Chicago, LA was cheaper at the time, and at the time, and 26 years ago, and I had place to land. So my grandparents were still alive then, so like I have some family out here, some early memories. This was where I'd come to go to the palm trees, which was the other side of the universe from Ithaca, New York. So definitely have some deep memories of this place, and then kind of like little lost my way a little bit in terms of acting in the industry was not what I either had thought or was something that I was very good at in terms of getting in the door. And so then slowly finding my way to finding what theater is here. And then the workshop I did, I saw the SITI Company do a couple of plays starting in '97. And then in 2002, they came out here to do a workshop, and I took it. And it really worked with the training that I already had, made sense language wise and what it was. And then, the possibilities that it opened both artistically and then also as a human, in terms of, I think Viewpoints is a really fantastic tool, and then also it's an awareness tool, and that is always good in life, not just in the theater. So yeah, that really helped a lot in terms of my work with myself and as an artist. And then in 2006, I had the opportunity to start the Space Bootleg Theater and spent 12 years doing that, which was really like this high learning curve of like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Do the things, pay the rent, and get as many artists in here as possible and try to support and make new work. And that really became my focus, in terms of, I'm interested in, classics and things. I mean, those are all valid. I'm not saying those are invalid, but what are the stories of today, and what are the stories of right now, and the people right now? Because one of the, if theater is helping, one of the things that theater can do is to show us a way of living, or a way the world can be. And that doesn't mean it's all idealistic. It's going to show you some horrible tragedy so that you can get to the other thing, so that you can realize things and reflect, and then get to the place where things are hopefully changing. So that's kind of, there we go. How was that? Story of my life in 3.5 minutes. There we go.
Yeah. So with theater being you focusing on the stories of today, this, we're lost again. Theater in a way is out in the desert, finding something new, finding a new space. What is it about this new artistic medium of virtual theater or digital theater that makes you excited? And what have you found to be the most challenging?
I think there's a lot of things that are exciting about it. Big one is I'm going to say accessibility, which I also want to say with the caveat that not everybody has technology, so there is a wealth disparity in terms of accessibility, which I definitely want to acknowledge, and is something that I think every human being needs to work on, but also like something like those moments when artists are like the art and the artists are affected by the outside or the structures of the world. And so that intersectionality that we need to work on. That being said, the accessibility for folks in terms of geography, in terms of people who can't either, afford, but then also people who don't have the time, or have, like, how many parents do you know who are like, I love your work, I'm not going to see it for 10 years because I'm busy, and I cannot, and also the cost of childcare and etc. So like that kind of accessibility. And then also, for disabled folks and people, who haven't been able to get into these spaces, I think that's one of the more exciting things. Also, again, the geography is connecting to audiences, but also artists connecting to artists, like working with people overseas, which was happening before, but I think has now become much more like, oh, that's doable, or to say accepted. I don't know if that's quite the right word, but it's, I feel like people are open to it. Artists are open to it more too. And the idea that you would make stuff that you're not going to, I'm going to work with someone in Prague and I'm never going to Prague. Our product will be here on the web. And that's what it is. I think that's exciting. I guess I kind of answered both questions because the wealth part of the technology is, and technology.
A challenge.
It is a challenge. It's super challenge. So not letting go of analog ways at the same time. And it's funny as you were asking that, because it's that thing, I really want us to let go of this phrase that theater is dying. I mean, I think I've heard that my entire life. And like, I don't think so. It's not. I mean, so it's like this thing, this is one of the things we do, right? We want to come together. We want to tell stories together, and coming together, finding ways to come together, even with distance. I think there's a lot of the opportunities that we are finding, even though we have distance, to find closeness are really exciting.
Yeah. Closing those gaps. Because if you work with an artist in Prague, your audience is not just in Prague, it's also your followers and your people, your tribe, where you're at as well. And then opens up space for people all over to discover the work. Yes,
which I think feeds to the after, right? Before times, in times, after times. In the after times, where there's going to be a whole bunch of people out there who know about your work in the world, not just like, the people in LA know about what, but it's like, all those and so what does that do in terms of creating audience, in-person audience, and continuing to be a web audience, which this is not going away. Online is not going away. So, and to be upset about that seems really silly, because aren't we always trying to find new audiences? Isn't that always every theater maker admin conversation that I have, arts admin is like, how do we get the people? It's like, look at this gift. There's a gift to get to the people. So then, how are we going to be able to reach out to those people and say, hey, when you're in LA, you've heard of this, come and check this out of the space, right? Or go to that play, or I really want to see this person, they're coming to town because I watched their web series, or I was in their house while they were having conversations, right? I mean, the familiarity we all have now with each other in a way of just like, oh yeah, I've been in your house, totally.
Yeah. Well, and I think that sometimes there's this it's either or mentality, and that maybe right now that's the case, but moving forward, that doesn't have to be an either or situation. It can be a both and.
Yes, and hey, theater.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes.
So you directed and created both scripted work digitally as well as devised work during these Corona times. What do you find different about each of these two in a digital space?
In a digital space. I have to say that the thing about having taking a play that is done, finished, published, whatever, and it does have a bit of a, what do they call it? A round peg, square hole feeling. Yeah. Where it's just like, I mean, I am in the midst of directing something right now, and it's very much like, okay, this may not be the production that I have dreamed about of this show, because it just can't be. So how then to look what are the parts of this play that I can mine to try to tell the story that the play is telling, but okay, so I'm doing Feifu, right? Feifu and her friends, and we have to film it. Also, this is the other thing about we have to take everyone's technology into account, and so that is live streaming is a great idea, but if you don't have the enough of bandwidth, all of the things, all the technology, it becomes very difficult, and you don't want to leave anyone feeling like they are less than in the process. So we are filming it, so that means that the, act 2 is supposed to be done as there are 4 scenes that repeat 4 times, and the audience moves and watches each one, right? So you get them in different orders and all that kind of stuff. So, which is, brilliant and also not possible. So we're looking for ways that bring the idea that they're all happening simultaneously into the space. There are characters who come in and out of each scene, like, so that you could get it, but also, like, for the design team, what can you do to put us to help us know that all of these are happening at the same time? So maybe there's something that we can hear through all 4 or something, like, things like that. And then what are the, I guess that's what I'm like, yeah, like the making of I find that the making of a play that is already written and done is like a puzzle making. So it's that, because I'm trying to put together this puzzle that will add up to this, right? We know what it looks like.
Yeah.
Got the picture on the box. So how do you make this puzzle? And so this is that's a little different here, but it's still the same process. It's just that the picture on the box is going to be a little different. And maybe that's exciting. That's the other thing, is like, I also, as I hear myself, I'm like, because there are moments of like, ugh, this is so hard. I just want to be in the room with people and figure it out together. I mean, I get it, I totally do. But to keep to have a good room, you can't walk in with that kind of like, let me put the thing that we can't do out in front of us. That's terrible. That's a terrible way to start. So I think, so I've been trying to also just and acknowledge that I have those feelings and then let them go. Devised work, so fun because it's wide open. It literally is. Been having a lot of fun doing compositions with the cast of Feifu, and that, give a recipe, go off to breakout rooms, come back and see what'd you come up with, and it's all great. It's like, it's exciting, and to see working with students at Cal Poly and to see what their choices are and how they use technology and what does a frame mean. There's all kinds of things to play with in this medium that way. So on one level, I mean, I always try not to use the word easy when it comes to theater, because it always comes back to bite. Yeah. So it's not that it's easier. I don't know. But there is a freeing kind of feeling to devised work in general, but also in this spaces,
Yeah, for sure, because you're not, given these set ingredients for your recipe, that you get to make up the recipe, which when you have certain limitations in comparison to in person, you can use whatever's at your disposal in a way that really highlights the benefits of these new ingredients.
Yeah.
So you told us in our little pre-meeting that you've been using this mantra of sorts. Fuck it, let's try, which is what we have, titled this little talk here. So what is the origin of fuck it, let's try?
The origin is, I love the way that you were like, this is what we did. This is so great at the top. Totally. Because that's where we are, right? Good. So Fuck It, Let's Try comes from actually creating a devised workshop with Bruce Lemon Jr., who is he's co-artistic director of Watts Village Theater Company here, and also I think a co-artistic director of Cornerstone, and so busy. And but as we were trying to figure out what do we do to make a devised workshop online, because we had been supposed to do it in person, and then how do we do this? And as we were going through it, talking about it, this idea of just like, well, why not? Fuck it, right? I mean, and then I also want to give props to Christina Wong, who she's a solo performance artist here in LA, and I saw her on a talk about just like, we're doing things on Zoom. Why are you? But just fuck it. It's Zoom. Try something. So I was like talking to Bruce about that, and I was like, fuck it. He's like, let's call this Fuck It, Let's Try. And that really opened things up in terms of like saying that also then to the students we were with, just like it's there is no reason to judge yourself at this point. You know, there's never any reason to judge yourself. Sorry. but to
Right.
like let go of like, to really let go of the idea that the same structures are in place. You know, we really don't. So fuck it. Try something. What do you have to lose? You know, and I think on one level, that's a great way to approach making art anyways. You know, why not? Fuck it.
Yeah, especially, you know, right now we don't really have any expectations about what things look like.
Yeah.
So, you know, why should we be putting ourselves in a box of the expectations of before times if that doesn't exist right now and may not ever exist again? Who knows, right? So yeah. I mean, let's hope, really.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And what are the things you find when you step into I don't know? You know, I think we talked about, did we talk about this earlier in that other conversation too, about how you know, I don't know is a sweet spot for the artist?
Yes.
So how do you make I don't know the sweet spot for yourself so that I don't know is not daunting or stops you, or, you know, all of the things that I don't know can do to step into like, I don't know, fuck it, let's try. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. So how can we as artists best document this space and time for future artists to learn from?
Well, there's going to be a lot of documentation because it will be captured in a different way. I was thinking, it's funny because I want to encourage everyone not to write the solo play about being in your apartment for.
Right. Yeah.
Because we all, yes, we are agreed. We have done that. And I don't know that I'm going to want to sit in a theater and watch that. Yeah. At the same time, I really think it's important that artists, that we make sure that we are talking about what this time has been, because I feel like it could be forgotten in terms, especially as we all go, yes, you know, or, you know, maybe we have contact with people, you know, things, and again, we can let go of some of the things that we've just been through without learning from them. And I feel like in stuff I've like read about the 1918 or the Spanish flu, like that, it does seem like there was just a lot, like it was almost like people were like, I don't want to talk about that anymore. Nope, never gonna. And then all of a sudden, like the cultural knowledge stopped, so that we get to this place 100 years later where it's like, this has never happened before. And everyone's like, it kind of did. It did happen. We just stopped talking about it. You know? So maybe there's some way that we can, I don't know if document, but like pass the stories on, pass the knowledge on, maybe more so than the actual stories. I mean, let's get into some metaphor. Let's get into some like other like, can you take what you learned about, you know, being solo or doing whatever you did in quarantine and put it in a whole other place in another context, but tell me what you learned from this time in another way, because I don't want to hang out in somebody's living room with them, because
nobody does.
I mean, you know, it's like, I mean, I could do my solo play in the kitchen right now. Thank you very much. I don't need anybody.
Well, it sounds like you just threw down the gauntlet of like everyone out there. You have been challenged by Jessica Hanna to pass on the knowledge in a different way. So get to it, artists. Get to it, creators.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say get to it, but not too much pressure. Give yourself some space. It's okay. Don't have to be making things all the time immediately. Yes. If it's going to put you into a state, you know, because like, that's the other thing. I mean, just learning what we've learned about self-care and time and what time means to people and the preciousness of it at the same time as the boringness of it. Right. So like, what is that balance about time? And to not go swing, you know, the other way. I mean, let's have some roaring 20s, but let's not forget.
Yeah, for sure. So you've been very busy. You have a lot of things going on. Can you tell us a little bit about your upcoming projects and how people can check them out?
Yes. I'm kind of helping to support a podcast called Trek Table Podcast, which is on Outpost 13, and it is holding Trek space for women of color and their allies to talk about Trek, in particular, Star Trek Discovery. It is put together by one of my favorite artists and colleagues, Alison de la Cruz, and that's on Sundays at 4 on outpost13.org, or you can go Outpost 13 Twitch. Or you can find them on the socials, Trek Table Podcast. And then A Walk in My Neighborhood, which is a scheduled audio walk that I produced earlier this past fall. Keep an eye out for that, because we are going to be doing some more of them and bring the other one back, but not sure what the details are yet. But follow A Walk in My Neighborhood on IG and Trek Table Podcast on IG for more infos.
Excellent. Those sound both like very exciting projects. So
yes,
I have to do the share for both of those things.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you. Totally.
So we have some exciting upcoming events. We did postpone April's Embodying the Text class to February 25th. It is a one-day deal. Should be super exciting. So if you are not a person who deals well with sitting in front of a book and braining about text, this is the workshop for you. We'll be on our feet, doing the thing, working with text. It applies to whatever text you're using. I'm super excited about it. I'm definitely going to be there. It is a pay what you can situation, and all of the funds go towards our BIPOC scholarship, which we will need because we have an upcoming workshop with a guest teacher. We're very excited about this. This is not something that we've ever had at Thumbprint before, so it's really excellent. Sarah K. Godot, who is a comedian in LA, will be doing a stand-up writing workshop for us. It's a 2-day event that will be March 20th and 21st from 4 to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time both days. You will come out of there with stuff. So please come. It's going to be super exciting. We are going to have it up on our website soon. I think this weekend, hopefully. Mm-hmm. So the details will be there. So please look out for that. And then our Thumbprint Reads and Listens for March is the 1st of March from 6:30 to 8 Central Standard Time. And we will be discussing Kill Move Paradise by James E. James instead of Death of a Salesman. So we can retire Death of a Salesman from our reading list and bring in something a little bit new. So that will be very exciting. Also, last thing, our Emerging Artist Mentorship Program, we are still taking applications. They are due February 15th. If you would like more information on that, you can go to our website. It's super awesome. We really love it. It's a 3-month mentorship with April and I. We have 2 mentees every quarter. It's very exciting. We love our mentees, and they're all part of our hearts and team. So even after the 3 months are over, we're always like bringing them in for stuff, and like they come to classes and things. So we love them super, super much. So that can also be, information for that can also be found on our website.
Yes, so you can check out all of these events on our events page to keep track of everything that we have brewing in the new year. We also have some exciting things coming down the pipeline, so keep checking back with us. So, Jessica, what would you like to leave everyone with today?
I want to say, take good care of yourselves. Say, fuck it, let's try, and dive into I don't know, because life is for living, even in the small spaces. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that reminder.
Mhm.
And for being with us today, Jessica. This was such a fun conversation. I feel like I could have talked for hours more, but unfortunately we only have so much time. But thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And thank you for the work you're doing. Totally appreciate it. Thank you, Vic.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Vic.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
So for all of you at home who've tuned in, thank you so much for being here. We will see you next week. Come for the connection.
And stay for the tea.
Ooh.
Tea.
Her name is April, and she's fabulous.
Together, we decided to start Thumbprint Studio.
Still working with emotional freedom.